I definitely didn't wait to have all my T's crossed and my I's dotted to begin. I didn't have an invoicing system.
Yeah.
I'm a brand designer and didn't give myself a logo until just last year. But
Amazing.
I didn't get caught up in the weeds.
Yeah.
I literally just started. And like, if it
Yeah.
works in your brain to be a little bit more buttoned up, that's great. But if in your buttoning up, you're delaying your start,
Yeah.
go ahead and start, because I guarantee you, whatever you have lined up, 3 months in, 5 months in, you're going to be like, oh, I should do it this way. And
Yeah.
you'll retailor and recalibrate.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Blueprint. I'm Courtney Cook, founder of Monarch COO, where I help mission-driven entrepreneurs grow their businesses. Each week, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs to explore the stories behind their successes and challenges. Whether you're just dreaming of starting a business or already building one, this podcast is here to show you that entrepreneurship is more attainable than it might seem, with insights for every stage of the journey. Amanda Barnhart is a creative director and designer with over a decade of experience. Specializing in comprehensive branding and design, she brings a creative vision and strategic approach that empowers clients to effectively achieve their company goals. Successfully running her own creative studio for 5 years after working in publishing and advertising, Amanda understands how to craft brand identities that not only captivate visually, but also align seamlessly with the broader narrative and objectives of each client's creative needs. Outside of design work, Amanda finds joy in family time with her 2 boys and husband, running and sipping a glass of rosé while calling Greenville, South Carolina home. Let's dive into today's conversation and see what it takes to build a business. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, good to see you.
So, Amanda and I worked together previously, and we'll probably get more into just some of the details of her background. But let's start off, Amanda. Will you kick us off by sharing about your business, what you do, who you serve, and how long you've been a business owner?
Yeah, well, I am a creative director, graphic designer, and I started my business about 5 years ago this month. In January was a fresh start. So, um, graphic design as it relates to a lot of branding, logos, packaging, um, podcast art, websites, books, curriculum, you name it. It all fits in kind of one big branding bucket.
Awesome. So 5 years ago, that's crazy. So what inspired the idea for your business? Is it something you were like, I will always go into this route, or what was really the inspiration for now's the time?
Yeah, well, it was definitely a big shift. I had always been kind of in the corporate world. That was kind of the path once you get your degree, like go into advertising, and then I went into publishing, and really felt like that was, the career journey that I was on. But I think that graphic design is one of those skill sets that you could always do on the side. Like it's a really adaptable career to maybe do on your own. Um, but I was in my absolute dream job at the time when I decided to make the step away. And it was ultimately after I had my first son. I never thought that I would make a career shift just because I became a mom, but never say never.
Yeah.
And what was interesting was I was raised in a family of entrepreneurs. So I grew up in this lifestyle of like not just my own immediate family, but my aunts and my uncles. Everyone kind of had their own business and did their own thing. So um, I grew up with, without the corporate 9 to 5. And I really wanted that flexibility in my life. Once I became a mom, I was like, oh, yeah, I got to have flexibility and do things um, kind of my way. So that's when I kind of knew, oh, you are going to pursue your own business as kind of the solution to having that freedom of time.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I want to get more into that. Um,
Okay.
because I love hearing about like what inspired you, especially when it comes from your or when it as it relates to your childhood. But how did when you first started it, before we get there,
Yeah.
what were the first steps you took? So you said you started in January. Were you like, I need to find an accountant, or how did you like have the foundation of what are these first steps I need to do to
Yeah.
actually get this off the ground?
Yeah. So I think this is really key that I've also shared with other people along the way. You've got to do two things at one time. And so there's this crossover period, which is going to be really incredibly difficult. So what I did was I was still working my day job 9 to 5, but so I initially was like, okay, I had this one long-term client on the side from a previous connection that I had been just always doing stuff on the side. I think a lot of us that are listening here are, driven and business driven and are obviously considering and or at the early starts or into their entrepreneurial pursuit. So you've always got something on the side. So while I still had a full-time job, I kind of always had this other client on the side. And I thought, if I can just get one more client on the side, then I would quit my job, which would not replace my income, but I knew that that was kind of the next step. So what that looked like was through a personal connection, I did get that second client on retainer. So then it wasn't like an immediate, like, okay, I quit. It looked like getting up at like 4:30.
Yep.
And working 4:30 to 7:30, and then getting ready to go to my day job 9 to 5.
Wow.
And I did that for a couple of months, and it was really hard. I also had like a newborn baby. So I was like up all the time.
Never sleeping.
So, but I saw the vision of like, if I can do this, then I can stay the course. So I, like I said, I got those 2 clients on retainer, and then my husband and I made the decision together to like both leave our jobs, sell our house, and we moved out of state. We moved from Tennessee to South Carolina to be closer to family. And so it was a part of this bigger life change, this big life change picture. But I guess what was interesting was, so we did that and we moved, and it was crazy and scary. But when I had the 2 clients and then no longer that 9 to 5 job, I was able to use my internal network of friends to kind of broaden my network, if you will. And also, I no longer had the overhead costs of a nanny, which of course ramped back up once your business ramps up. You need to, I need to get childcare. But, I started without even a business name, never gave myself a logo. I just started. So I think ultimately what I learned is every client that you get, because I started with the 2, is a stepping stone to future clients. So it's critical to know and love the clients you're working with, blow their expectations out of the water, and then it'll come back to you tenfold. Like it's a domino effect. And it takes the stigma out of like networking. It's like, well, you're not networking. You're just looking at your network and making it work for you. And whether a current client that you have may have ongoing needs, if they don't, guess what? They have a network. And if you exceeded their expectations and you had a great working relationship, they have people, and then they have people. And then that's what I've seen transpire over the past 5 years. So I started with 2 clients, and now 5 years later, I look back, and I only know this because I just recently reviewed some of my numbers. I've had over 40 clients. I mean, that's just something that comes from client relationships and relationships in general. They're vital. They're vital.
That's amazing. And the power of word of mouth based on your performance. It's awesome and so inspiring. So, Amanda, then what's been one of the most unexpected challenges in your entrepreneurial journey as you've grown it for the last 5 years?
I think having to wear all the hats. So needing to be on the client management side of things and the creative designer side of things. And then my biggest challenge was the bookkeeping side of things. So I'm a designer. I can hardly add 1 + 1. I can't do my son's first grade math homework. So the bookkeeping thing was a real pain point for me. It didn't prohibit me from starting, but for the first couple of years, I hobbled together my invoices and my numbers in an Excel spreadsheet that I thought was like savvy enough. Like I knew how to add a formula, and like I was like, I can do this. And then it just became completely unmanageable. And so about 2 solid years in, I was like, I need to get a bookkeeping system. And when I did that, it's like a time tracker management
Mm.
system. It's where I organize all of my invoices. I can send my invoices that way. My clients can pay me with a credit card. That revolutionized my workflow. And then I had more time to do what I love doing. So
Yeah.
I should have ripped that Band-Aid off sooner. I was just scared to do it, but I was so glad once I kind of faced that challenge head on and figured out you have to figure out a better way to do this. And
Yeah.
anyway, I'd be happy to share my resources. I wanted something that was easier than QuickBooks or something that
Yeah.
felt
What do you
really
use?
robust.
I use
So I use this
QuickBooks, but
program called Harvest, and it's
okay.
only $12 a month. And what I really
Nice.
loved about it was the design interface, of course, was simple and beautiful. So it was easy to use. And it was simple. Like I got paralyzed by all the bells and
Mm,
whistles.
yep.
And this kind of, you can choose to not have the bells and whistles and have it do exactly what you need it to do. And
Sweet.
it was recommended to me. It's a great resource for, I would say, designers.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome. I haven't heard of it, but that's really nice.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah, I
think
went
it's harvest.com.
yeah.
Um,
QuickBooks is not for the faint of heart, and the only reason probably it works for me is because I know it inside and out just because of the
right.
role that I play for people. So it's
Exactly.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. So, was there a turning point or an aha moment when you realized, okay, this business works and I think I'm like this is my forever. And what made that moment stand out? Was there
Hmm.
anything in particular?
I feel like not really. And only because when you, like, if you have the entrepreneurial itch,
Yeah.
you're betting on yourself. You're saying, I bet on myself. I believe in myself that I can make this work not under the umbrella of a paycheck or an employer. So
Hmm.
I think once you start out, you better believe it's going to work, or like,
Yes.
how could you step out? So I think just having that confidence up front is is key. And then of course it
Yep.
was fun along the way to see, like, now I have 5 clients and now I have 10 clients. Like,
Yep.
that's super fun. Um but yeah, I don't know if there was like a specific moment where I was like, I think this is going to work, because it was almost like, I need this to work.
Yeah.
This has
There's
to
no other
work. I
option.
don't want to go back.
Yep. Yeah. I feel that very deeply of like this is my future and there's nothing. You couldn't pay me enough money to go back to the
Right.
corporate world. There's
Yeah,
no
like
way.
you have to make it work. You have to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So let's go to kind of go back to where you were initially talking about your family being all
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. That's so
Mhm.
interesting. I
Yeah.
have heard a lot of like, no, not a single, parent of mine was an entrepreneur and I did not see this coming, but it kind of fell into my lap. Or in the case of you, and I'm very similar, my parents were also entrepreneurs. And it sounds like you have a whole host of family members
A
that
whole
were. So
host.
I assume you
Yeah.
always wanted to know, or you always knew you wanted to be an entrepreneur. Was there a certain age, or was it just kind of always this living assumption that you had in mind?
I think it was just truly growing up in an environment um where no one lived that 9 to 5 life.
Yeah.
That your time was your most valuable asset. And so I think even when I was in corporate America, I was always conflicted with the time aspect. Like, if I get my work done, what do you like? I
Yeah.
have 10 vacation days? Like, this is never going to work for me.
Yeah.
And just really realizing from an early age, like, that my parents picked me up from school, or that, like, we could just always do whatever we wanted to do whenever we wanted to do it. And it
Mhm.
always made me feel sad when, like, I looked at kids that, like, had to do late stay, or like, I was like, you
Yeah.
do? Why can't your parents come pick you up? And now as a mother of 2, absolutely realizing, wow,
Yeah.
like, my workday stops at 2:50. I've got to go get in car line.
Yep.
And I'm so grateful that I get to do that. Is that hard on days when I need to work till 5 or 6 or have a late client call? Of course it's hard, and of course it's frustrating. But I'm so glad that I took a bet on myself
Hmm.
so that I can get in that car line and pick my kids up.
Yeah.
And not have to ask someone's permission or have some sort of adjusted schedule as an employee. to do so. And also, like, on a crazy, beautiful, nice day in the fall or the spring, you know how we get those pop-up days? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
we're not doing anything today. We're going to the
Yes.
zoo. Just
Yep.
being able to do that, I think is invaluable. Like, we get one life to live.
Hmm.
Um, so who are you answering to?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm gonna go to the garden or the nursery and just go to town and buy plants and get them planted. It's a beautiful
Exactly.
day. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
So who or what inspired you the most as a child? Were there, was it a parent? Was it aunt or uncle?
Mhm.
Who were those people that were really inspiring to you?
Well, this is such an easy question. It was definitely my dad. He definitely had the biggest influence on me, and he recently passed away. But he truly embodied the joy of working. He loved it. He loved to work. He loved the pursuit of the sale,
Mm-hmm.
and showed me like the the risks and rewards and the ebb and the flow, and like
Mm-hmm.
watching him live that out in his life, I think has been a model for me even now of like doing it on my own. Um, he just showed that the adventure and the risk was always worth it. He always instilled in me time is more valuable than money. I think that whispering was eventually probably what led me to like officially take the plunge and be able to prioritize my time. But I think he showed me how much fun it is to like make money with the goal of giving it all away. Um, what a great example and
Yeah.
legacy he's left. And so to then be able to kind of embody some of those characters, traits of him because I'm his daughter is really special to me and probably a continued driving force now that he's gone. Um, One of the things that gives me a lot of peace that I got to see my whole life, and especially in recent years, he was still alive when I started this business. We got to have conversations of like, it's a good month or
Yeah.
it's a bad month. And me getting to kind of express like, oh gosh, like, I don't know, like, where, like, what's the next job going to be? Or like, things are really slow right now and I'm panicking.
Mm-hmm.
And getting to hear him say like, yeah, this is a slow month too.
Yeah.
So, you know, go outside, or like the next month is going to be busier. And so having that, I guess, modeled example of like the ebb and the flow and the fluctuation of your income, which is a pain point, like to have a varying income every month.
Yeah.
Um, Also know, like, watching him my whole life be like, or even a good year and a bad year, I think we have to
Mm-hmm.
know as entrepreneurs that's okay. That can happen. Don't give up.
Yep.
Like, you're going to have an awesome year that will probably mitigate that bad year or month or week or whatever it
Yep.
looks like financially for you. Um, so just kind of being immersed in that culture of seeing that ebb and flow, financially, I think has been really helpful to give me like peace as I move forward in this, my own journey. Um, but yeah, it's funny, the conversations around, is everyone in your family an entrepreneur or not? Are
Yeah.
you the first one? And everybody is. My maiden name is Smith, and it's like none of us work for anybody except
That's
ourselves.
awesome. So do you have siblings, and are they also entrepreneurs, or like what
Yeah,
is that like?
my
Oh
sister
my
is an
gosh.
entrepreneur. She has her own jewelry business. And my
Amazing.
cousins, all my cousins also own their own businesses,
My
and our
gosh.
aunts and uncles. So it really would be interesting to look at our family tree, and then
Mm-hmm.
also like put a star beside everybody that's running their own business, and it would be remarkable. But I think,
That's
in
really
that there's
cool.
strength in that because we're all kind of
Mm-hmm.
doing it together.
Oh my
So even though
gosh.
we're all solo, we're also like have this network of like
Oh yeah.
togetherness.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so, so cool. Was I can't even imagine like what your Christmases or your family gatherings are like of from that standpoint, from that point of view, because it's probably so much talking shop that would be really,
Mhm.
really fun and sweet.
Mhm. Talking shop is a lot of fun. And it's a lot of different types of businesses as well. I mean, I've got one cousin that runs an outdoor wilderness adventure
Oh my
company in
gosh.
Idaho, and they
Wow.
take people out on the river. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's definitely fun to talk shop and feel like you're heard and understood.
Yeah.
Um, and it's very different from my girlfriends or other people I know that
Hmm.
are living that corporate 9 to 5 life, which is also awesome,
Yep.
and exciting for them. So I think you just have to know what camp do you want to be in, and it's okay
Hmm.
for it to shift. Like, whenever the
Yeah.
time is right for you to branch out or realize, no, 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 no. I
Yeah.
love corporate America. I mean, I certainly miss the clothes from corporate America.
Actually, I don't. I do not miss it.
I
But
do. I miss like a cute outfit and like a cute, but it's
maybe I'm not
okay.
far enough removed yet. I'll get there. I'll get there one day. But that it sounds like I need to get the Smith family on the podcast. So I'll
Oh,
have to make my
yeah,
rounds.
that'd be so fun.
So let's get into just your business. What are your goals for 2025 for your business?
Yeah, I mean, I really just want to continue to make beautiful products and brands really work well for my clients, and build them up to, a place where we're starting a brand from scratch or we're finding an existing brand or bringing structure to an organization that's kind of all over the place. I love moving those puzzle pieces together for clients. So more of the same,
Yeah,
um, and more beautiful.
I love it. Will you share some of your favorite projects that you've worked on? I personally just would share with listeners that I have seen Amanda, guide a photo shoot like an absolute boss, and she is amazing. Um, but I'd love to know, like, what are some of your favorite projects and what are the things that you like to do the most? So whether you're actually hands on the keyboard designing or directing a photo shoot, what does that look like in your day to day?
Yeah, I think some of my favorite projects, and even just reflecting back on some projects from last year, are branding projects, for a variety of clients. Like, one is a autism center out in Utah where
Oh,
they,
wow.
after, gosh, 40 years in business, refreshed their logo, and that was really fun to take equity in an existing organization and
Mhm.
program, that is doing amazing, right? And then
Yeah.
aligning their brand visuals to match the quality of care that they're providing for families in their community. Like, there was a disconnect, and together as a
Mm,
team, we were able to make their branding and signage and new website and new brochures and new social media templates, um and then even giving personal brand identities to the CEO and COO in their own personal pursuits, and
sweet.
writing, like, they're, one is the author of a book, and so like her brand also mattered. And so like the different spider webs of really diving into an organization that has equity and like refreshing and refining the visuals to, to reflect their actual mission, was
Yeah.
really cool. And then partnering alongside their team and their staff in that, what can be a painful ripping off of the tape of like, that's the old logo and those are the old colors and this is the new way, and that can be hard, but really setting up guidelines and structure and parameters in place to help that organization do it really well. And that, came to fruition last fall, which was exciting,
That's
and just
cool.
ongoing needs and ongoing work. So I love I love branding work the most, and whether that, you know carries into packaging or book design or ongoing curriculum, of course that's a win as well. But I think ultimately giving companies, organizations, or people that brand, which is,
Yeah.
as you know, so much more than a logo. It's an entire identity, it's an essence, it's everything, showing people how they can use that to push their message stronger. I love to do that for people. It's like all the light bulbs go off in people's brains of like, oh,
Yeah.
this is gonna make us really strong. And it does.
Hmm. It makes such a big difference. That's awesome. So, what is one decision you made early on that had a major impact on your business's success? I guess you might go back to getting the system that you added for invoicing and bookkeeping, so
Mhm.
Harvest. But was there anything else that just has really impacted your business?
I would say just start.
Yeah.
Just start, because don't wait for everything to line up perfectly, because then you won't even really know what problems you're trying to solve because you won't have experienced the problem yet.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't wait to have all my T's crossed and my I's dotted to begin. Obviously, like I mentioned, I didn't have an invoicing system.
Yeah.
I'm a brand designer and didn't give myself a logo until just last year.
Are you serious, Amanda?
Yeah,
That's
I didn't give
hilarious. I did
myself a
not realize
logo
that.
until last year. But
Amazing.
I didn't get caught up in the weeds.
Yeah.
I literally just started. And I
Yeah.
feel like I watch other people try to get that LLC paperwork filed. And I'm not
Hmm.
saying don't do any of that. And like if it
Yeah.
works in your brain to be a little bit more buttoned up, that's great. But if in your buttoning up, you're delaying your start,
Hmm.
I would question you to observe that and wonder, why are you just stalling? Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Go ahead and start, because I guarantee you, whatever you have lined up, 3 months in, 5 months in, you're going to be like, oh, I should do it this way. And
Yeah.
you'll retailer and recalibrate, which is a healthy thing to do.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, my biggest piece of advice would be like, just start,
Do it.
and
Doesn't have to be
you'll
perfect.
figure it out along the way. That may seem crazy, but that's how I did it, and
Yeah.
it just,
It's
yeah, it
worked
kind
so
of
well.
works.
That's awesome. And it's a great point that like just because you start one way doesn't mean that's forever. Like you will
Hmm.
recalibrate, you'll go back and
Yes.
forth and you'll say, "Oh, I'm going to, make a tweak here." And you might do that again next week. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think
Yep.
that's great advice. So you are a mom of two and a wife and, a sister, a cousin. You have so much going on. How do you balance the demands of running a business with your personal life?
Well, I definitely don't have it all figured out for sure. I think uh it's a mess. Because when business is going good and things are exciting, you're busy.
Mhm.
And it just comes with its own challenges, of course, but I would say my best balanced moments are when I decide to take off my entrepreneur business hat, put that down, and then put on my mom hat. So I,
Mhm.
for me, have to really just compartmentalize. I need to know my schedule, know what my working hours are. I have it written out. It's taped to the fridge. Of course, it's in
Nice.
my printed planner, and really try to honor that. And when I have outlined, this is when I'm putting my mom hat on,
Yeah.
not to work and not to check my email. And I certainly struggle with that. Um, but like putting my phone on airplane mode, because I know that I obsessively check my email and always want to respond to clients right away. Just trying to set boundaries that no one else is breaking but me.
Mhm.
And just trying to remember, like, hey, the whole reason you did this in the first place was to be a present mother, or to, be with your kids. And so be with your kids.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like a learning curve. Another thing I would say is have some sort of an outlet for you to keep you sane. So I love running. It's like
Yeah.
my only time for myself where I cannot work on my business while I'm running, nor can I be with my children while I'm running.
Yeah.
And so to just have, identify one outlet just for you, I think mentally keeps the peace, and is really helpful. Like it's a really good outlet
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. And you get your workout in. I'm gonna have to like take that section and create a little voice memo of it and replay it for myself because I'm sure you feel the same. It's easier said than done. But that's
Yeah.
just great advice of, airplane mode and now I'm a mom and then going back and
Yes.
forth.
Yeah.
Um,
And maybe that's not what would work for you, but I definitely feel like
yeah.
when I say I'm putting on my mom hat, then
Hmm.
I am like, I'm a mom right now.
Yeah.
Let's do what do moms do? Okay, let me let me think about this. Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna do a craft. We're gonna color. We're gonna get out the paint, or like
Yep.
help me unload the dishwasher. Like I am
Yep.
just a mom. I'm pretending that I don't have work and emails waiting for me and clients that need something, or a presentation I
Yes.
need to button up. I have to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
For now, maybe that'll change. And that goes back to what we were just saying. Like, that's what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we recalibrate when the kids are in middle school.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's different then. I'm sure it will be different then. So just being open to that agility and flexibility of like how things change.
Yeah. Absolutely. So what's been the most rewarding part of being a business owner?
Oh gosh, that I set out to own my time and now I do.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's invaluable, and that the risk was totally worth it.
Yeah.
And even though it was really sad and scary and hard to leave my dream job and leave corporate America and corporate America close,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, it was worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't get your time back from anyone. Like your time is your own time, and
Yeah.
you only have today. So what are you doing with your time today?
Yeah. We have limited time here on earth, and
Mhm.
every moment truly, truly matters.
Mhm.
So the final question I like to ask all guests is, what's one thing you wish you knew when you started your entrepreneurial journey? Could be big or small. What's that one nugget that you're like, man, that would have been nice to know?
Mm, I think, um, man, imposter syndrome is awful. Just don't believe in it. The sea is big enough for there's enough work for everybody to do.
Yep.
And you just like have courage to believe in yourself every day. And have fun. Like joy
Yeah.
is contagious. People want to be around people having fun and making work fun. You know, I saw that in my dad. He loved what he did. He loved people relationships. Um and I think that was a major part of his success. And so just continuing to represent yourself in a joyful way and believing in yourself, and not comparing yourself to other people, that would have been a helpful nugget of advice to maybe negate some tougher days or like
Yeah.
panic days or freak out days or like what am I doing, I'm not qualified for this. um of course you're going to feel that way, but don't believe in it and just plow past it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying like so don't feel that way so you'll be fine. Like, you're going to feel that way, but rise above it, you
Hmm.
know, and then it'll just be that domino effect we've been talking about.
Yep. Oh, that's beautiful, Amanda. It's so beautiful.
Hmm.
So, where can people find you if they're looking for your services? If they want to learn more about what you do, how can they reach you or find you?
Yeah. My website is creativeab.com. AB are my initials and creative stuff is what I make. So it's creativeab.com. That's where you can see my work, get in touch with me, learn more a little bit about me. It's all there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. This has been such a treat, and it's been too long since we've caught up. So I just really appreciate your time. I know every minute of it counts. So thanks for spending this hour with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Entrepreneur's Blueprint. I hope you found inspiration and insights to fuel your entrepreneurial journey. If you're looking for support in building or scaling your business profitably, visit my website or send me an email to learn more about how I help mission-driven businesses become more profitable, proactive, and efficient. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to leave a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It really helps other entrepreneurs discover this show, and it would mean so much to me as well. Until next time, keep building, keep dreaming, and keep going.